Yo peeps, Mischief here, welcome to the Conspiracy Cupboard. Today we're going to be looking into what does the MOD know? Okay, what does the British Intelligence Service know about UFOs? Let's get into this. Cue title sequence. Okay, here we go. Right, so this is a topic I've been trying to get into more and more, and I'm trying to get some background for you guys on this subject. So I've been doing What's the Deal With, covering so far Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. I've started with them two because at the moment they're doing Weaponized, and they are the ones that are seen publicising UFOs and sightings and stuff in America. Okay. I'm trying to find lots of evidence and lots of stuff from the UK, okay, to go along with all this, because we have thousands and thousands of sightings of UFOs in the UK. In fact, one of the main hotspots in the UK is up in Scotland and in Derbyshire, okay. Derbyshire has about 22 sightings reported, I think, from last year, previously maybe more. London has quite a few sightings, but Derbyshire is one of the main hotspot areas for seeing UFOs. I happen to live in Derbyshire. So it's one of the things that fascinates me the most is, what are these things? Who are they? Intelligently controlled? Where are they from? Are they from another planet? Are they interdimensional? Does the government actually know what is going on? So this is why I believe that the UK government must know more than it's saying. So the UFO topic really started actually back in the 40s. And it started with the Foo Fighters. Now, if you're not familiar with the Foo Fighters, they're not just the band, it's where the band actually got their name from. They were the UFOs basically seen by British fighter pilots, German fighter pilots, Japanese fighter pilots, American fighter pilots during World War II. Now, the first time that they were actually seen was in November in 1944 by the crew of a Bristol Bullfighter while they were doing a mission over the Rhine. The crew included Radar Officer Donald J. Mears, Intelligence Officer Fred Ringwald, and Elliot Sculler. They reported seeing about 8 to 10 orange glowing objects that moved at a fast pace and followed their aircraft. They described them as like Christmas tree decorations following them. They didn't seem to be hostile, but they seemed to be under intelligent control. This is back in the 40s. Now, when they first reported this, they thought it was used by Axis enemies. Okay, so on the 13th of December 1944, a press release was issued by the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, describing the glowing object seen as a new German weapon, because at the time that's what they assumed. But the Germans were seeing them as well. And they didn't know what they were. They assumed it was Allied forces that had come up with some new technology. So it wasn't long around that era when the atom bomb was then used as well, and more sightings came in. So the stories that followed a British Daily Telegraph and the New York Herald Tribune used the term Foo Fighters, basically to describe these objects. On the 15th of January 1945, a story named Foo Fighter was printed in Time magazine, in which it was stated that balls of fire followed US Air Force night fighters for more than a month. The story also included the fact that the Foo Fighter was given the name Balls of Fire by the pilots. So these things have been seen all that time during World War II. The Foo Fighters have been seen on various occasions by different people around the globe. One of the significant sightings was reported by the Indian Ocean. 2 sailors of the SS Pulskiny, a Polish vessel, so it should be Pulskiny then, reported that they saw strange green coloured light balls nearly half the size of a full moon. And these reports kept coming in all over World War II by every single pilot that was out there. The theories and explanation at the time then was different researchers and scientists offered different theories, obviously, to explain the appearance of the glowing objects in the sky. According to author Renato Vesco, the Foo Fighters could indeed be Nazi secret weapons, which he'd written about in Intercept UFO. He revived the wartime theory and stated that the Foo Fighters were a kind of jet-propelled, automatically guided and ground-launched flak mine dubbed the Führerball or Fireball. That has never been proven, obviously, but these were the theories that were around at the time. And still, no one can explain what these things were. So, starting with the Ministry of Defence then, it actually all started with Winston Churchill, and just before Winston's time as well. The Flying Saucer Working Party was made in 1952 because since 1950 they had been basically gathering information on UFOs and things seen by pilots and stuff, and information gathered over during the war. Winston Churchill then wanted to see what this was all about. In fact, the quote from Winston himself says, "What does all this stuff about flying saucers amount to? What can it mean? What is the truth?" This was 1952. Obviously, Winston had had these reports coming to him this entire time. So Winston then set up the Flying Saucer Working Party. Churchill's scientific advisor during World War II, Sir Henry Tizard, had already researched the subject. In August 1951. They published a secret 6-page document, which was brought together by the Intelligence Committee of the UK at the time, which basically stated that apart from around about 6 sightings from RAF pilots, all of the sightings were just hoaxes, unidentified stuff that people just misinterpreted, astronomical stuff or meteorological weather phenomenon. And that was it. And apparently after that, we didn't do anything about the UFO topic. But we did. So the Ministry of Defence carried on looking into this stuff. And then in 1997, they started on the DI-55 project Conding, which looked into UFOs and compiled all reports from our armed forces, and I presume from here, any reported sightings basically that came from the UK, and took them in and looked at them. Now, I'm not sure where Nick Pope quite comes into that part of it. I understand he must have worked as part of DI-55 for MI5, so who knows really. I am going to be doing a What's the Deal with Nick Pope to explain a bit about him and where he comes into this ministry. So in 2005 then, Freedom of Information Act was requested by UFO researchers Dr. David Clark, a lecturer at Sheffield Hallam University, good old Sheffield, and Gary Anthony, a former Bufora astronomical consultant. The identity of the report's author was not made public. So DI-55 then is a section of the Directorate of Scientific and Technical Intelligence, DSTI, within the DIS in the Ministry of Defence, the MOD. They love the acronyms, don't they? MOD, DI-5, DMF. So the conclusions of the report then was that none of these UFO sightings bore any kind of hostile or intent to the UK, nor could they be seen to be under any type of manned control. How they could even say this, they put most of these down to again, meteorological phenomena not fully understood by modern science. This one referred to buoyant plasma formation akin to ball lightning, things of this nature, which can produce unexpected energy field which creates the appearance of a black triangle. By refracting light, the electromagnetic fields generated by plasma phenomena hypothesized to explain reports of close encounters due to perceptual alterations and hallucinations in those affected. The Conding report suggests that further research into the novel military applications of this plasma phenomena is warranted. So there must have been something there, but The implications have already been briefed to relevant MOD technology managers. The report also notes that scientists in the former Soviet Union have identified close connection between UFO phenomena and plasma technologies and are pursuing related techniques for potential military purposes. Close encounters were basically put down then to say that people had, experienced stuff, and that these people believed, as far as they could fathom, what they were telling them, but they couldn't put anything down to this as being linked to UFOs. So then, after the year 2000, Project Conding apparently ended, and our interest in the UFO topic, as far as the UK goes, apparently ended there. I do know a couple of people that have worked for the Ministry of Defence. I cannot say their names. I cannot bring any of the stuff inadvertently forward. All I can tell you is bits of information that I found out in a roundabout way. The Germans had got a down saucer during the war, or had recovered anything, or we had recovered anything during then, and this could possibly be the things that were taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base before before Area 51, became a thing as well, and things were kept here. There are stories of fighter pilots engaging the Foo Fighters at some points during the war. So we don't know if anything ever got shot down then or taken back. But what I do know is that there is a project still going on. That much I can tell you. Whether the UK government are going to come forward and actually tell us what these new projects are and what we actually think about UFOs, because it seems to me that the reports that came forward were just a sweeping report of, no, there's nothing to see here, we're not bothered about this, there's other things to worry about, don't look in the skies, don't do this, we don't want the stuff that's going on in the US, with Area 51 and all this kind of stuff. We don't want it, we don't need it. Hush it up, keep that away, we have nothing to do with it. Probably one of the reasons why we don't have a space program, or do we? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if the UK had got its fingers in something else, to do with that, behind everyone's backs. But yeah, so I will be bringing pieces of things that I know within MOD, which doesn't break anybody's confidence or anything like that. And it's not something you can't find out yourself. So if you want to look for underground bases, don't go to them. That would be very stupid because they are guarded. But yeah, it's not a secret that they're out there. It's not a secret like places like Bentwaters exists as well. It's not currently used at the moment, but there's nothing to stop them reusing and getting back into these places. So anyway, to round up this video then, I would just like to put a little thing out there to a question to you. Most women don't seem to be into the topic of UFO whatsoever, or the for or looking into any of this stuff, and I just wonder why. What is it? Blokes seem to be more into the UFO topic. If I put a UFO video out there, I know mostly it's guys watching it. But it's not a stupid topic at all. There are things in our sky that we do not know about, and I don't know if it's just I'd rather be oblivious to it or whatever, but I don't get why everyone's not interested in this and asking the questions to their governments of, what the fuck do you know? And if it's no more than we know, then that's bloody terrifying. Why are you not looking into this? Why are we not looking into the links between, spirituality, supernatural phenomenon, and this? It's not crazy. It's not stupid. It's proven stuff. Look at the Skinwalker Ranch stuff. I can't prove any of that stuff to you at all. But they were linking things with, ghost sightings, UFO phenomenon, together, because it seemed to be that way, and they were seeing cryptid stuff and whatever. And whether you believe any of that, it's a very hard one to swallow. And George Knapp himself says that if he'd not seen some sort of, or actually, had these things given to him, he wouldn't have even believed any of it himself. And he still can't be sure of what was going on there. So anyway, I know that diverged off a bit, but yeah, just tell me why. Why are women not into UFOs? I don't get it. It's important. If there is something coming into our atmosphere that's from another planet, that's big information. We should all know that. You know, it'd be hopefully one thing that would stop all this bloody crap and hatred and idiocy towards people. You know, that's one of my hopes. I hope it doesn't have to take something like, you know, aliens appearing or something to actually do that. But, you know, and would we show the aliens more prejudiced than we show ourselves? That's another question for another day. So that's a bit about the MOD then, the Ministry of Defence. It all started with the Flying Saucer Working Party. It's ended with Project Conding apparently, but there's a UFO program still going. Don't know what it's called. Are you going to come forward with it? Are you going to tell us what you investigate? Are you going to tell us what we want to know? What are we seeing? Are our fighter pilots seeing the same things on radar? Are our ships seeing the same things on radar as the US are? Yeah? Is our radar system better than theirs? Are we seeing stuff coming in from over 80,000 feet? We track stuff. There are reports from over Liverpool, from over Heathrow, of them tracking objects coming into our atmosphere and over the, over London and flying in and stuff, and they've swept off. Where do those reports go? We know this happens. Just come forward. Let's work together. Let's find out what these things are. You know, I've said for years, if we stop distracting ourselves with phones and with crap technology and stuff, and actually put our minds towards working and building a better society and better education systems for children, we'd probably be already in fucking space right now. So, enough of my rant. I have ran out of money for the electric, so yeah. There we go. I shall see you in the next episode, which will be What's the Deal with Bob Lazar. It's been an episode I've been waiting to get into, and yeah, he's a fascinating guy. I'm going to be doing What's the Deal with Travis Walton as well, because that's another fascinating story. All the UFO abduction cases that I can find, and as many from the UK as possible. So, Mischief signing out. Have a good night, guys. Oh, it's dark in here.